Let's get one thing straight right out the gate. Broken necks in pro wrestling are not freak accidents. They are a predictable result of an industry that's always rewarded risk, silence, and toughness over common sense. Every time a wrestler breaks their neck, the response is always the same. Accidents happen. No, patterns happen. Here's the uncomfortable reality fans don't like to hear. Wrestlers are incentivized to take dangerous bumps because promoters reward bigger reactions, faster pacing, and riskier spots. Because that's what people pay to see nowadays. If you don't do it, well, somebody else is going to do it. And this isn't just a WWE history. This is modern wrestling across the board. See, wrestling involves high impact landings, aerial moves, head and neck control, repetitive bumps over the years. Like, we're stuntmen without wearing the padding that stuntmen wear. Thankfully, they're smart enough to do it because some wrestlers clearly are not. One mistimed move and slight angle change can cause catastrophic damage. And I've seen it firsthand. We've all seen it. We've all been there. And unlike other sports, wrestlers perform night after night after night after night, oftentimes while injured. Now, not at the indie level because those guys are weekend warriors. But the guys that are performing and making paychecks, they got their hustle on. They're traveling. They're spending a lot of time on the road, a lot of time in uncomfortable seats, and a lot of time taking really weird, uncomfortable bumps with people that they don't know, some of which probably aren't trained properly. But that's a different one. An injury that occurred in SummerSlam 1997 where Owen Hart, everybody remembers it, formed a sit-out tombstone pile driver on Steve Austin. Austin landed weird, compressed his neck, and what happened there? Got a stinger, temporary paralysis, and severe nerve damage. Okay? He continued to wrestle, never fully recovered, completely changed his in-ring style, right? And this is probably one of the most famous examples of a wrestler working through serious injury, and this injury kind of changed how the WWE, at least, looked at pile drivers. One specific move. But you'd think that his broken neck in 97 should have changed everything. Instead, the WWE kept dangerous head drop moves. Wrestlers kept working through it, air quotes. Fans cheered toughness instead of longevity. Austin wrestled years with severe nerve damage, limited mobility, chronic pain. And here's the harsh truth. Here's the reality of it. If Stone Cold wasn't the biggest star in the company, he would have been quietly replaced, not protected. Simple as that. Now, AEW deserves credit for caring about wrestlers' health. That's what they talk about now. But caring isn't the same as stopping it. You would think that after what happened to Big E in WWE, his broken neck in 2022 should have actually ended the use of things like belly-to-belly suplexes on the floor, unprotected throws outside the ring. Instead, we still see German suplexes on apron edges, headfirst landings just to get a big pop from the crowd. If it looks cool, though, that's the kind of logic that we're going with. Reverse Ranas off the top. At no time should anybody ever have to take one of those things. AEW is filled with talent trained in the indie mindset as if it doesn't almost kill you, it wasn't special. Well, that mentality doesn't magically disappear because the locker room vibe is nicer, right? It's always going to be around. Japanese wrestling is respected, but also brutal by design. Strong style. We've all heard about a strong style, and that's what's kind of implemented itself into this new North American indie style of wrestling is this strong style. But I think a lot of people use strong style as a guise to, I'm not trained well enough to work, so I just hit you. Look, things like neck drops, stiff forearms, head-driven suplexes. You look at the careers shortened or permanently altered in Japanese wrestling. Misawa, Kawada, Shibata. I mean, Shibata returning wasn't a miracle. It was a medical gamble. Japan normalizes suffering as an honor, samurai spirit as an honor. North America certainly does not. And that culture over there has produced a lot of legends and a lot of lifelong damage. Now let's look at Mexico, for example. Lucha Libre, it looks graceful, but there's other risks there too. A lot of head scissors, high angle dives, snap landings on the neck. Many of the luchadors down there, I mean, they don't even have medical coverage, let alone perform at an older age, let alone even disclose any of their injuries. They just put it off as, oh, it just happened. And it doesn't make headlines. No. They're just gone. Careers ended. There's no wellness program. There's no big press release. They're just gone. And some fans will sit there and they'll say, well, you know, they know the risks and it's their job and they chose to do this. Yeah, that's right. That's right. But fans are also the ones that will boo a safer style. They'll chant, "You still got it," to an old timer, and they'll reward dangerous nostalgia spots. Guys like Sandman still swinging a cane. Or if Balls Mahoney, God rest his soul, was still alive, he'd still be swinging a chair. We reward all of these things because we're bloodthirsty, well, I hate to say it, humans. You can't demand spectacle and pretend you care about health. You have to pick one, guys. Can't be both. Wrestling's biggest issue isn't ignorance, it's fear. Fear of losing a push. Fear of being labeled as soft. Fear of fans turning and not thinking, he doesn't have it anymore, or he doesn't deserve that spot anymore. As long as broken necks are treated like tragic but unavoidable, honorable sacrifices, or, something to that nature, they're just going to keep on happening. No one's saying eliminate risk entirely, but if wrestling doesn't reevaluate dangerous traditions, stop glorifying career-shortening spots, like stop thinking that this is not going to get any better, and hold promoters accountable, because the promoters, God rest some of their souls, should not be promoters. The next broken neck isn't a shock. It's scheduled. And one day the luck is going to run out. I've spent over 30 years in the professional wrestling business, and 26 of them were active in the ring. My setbacks were, in fact, a broken C6 and C7 while wrestling that I came back far too fast to reclaim some imaginary spot that was never there in the first place. A double compound fracture in the left tibia and fibula also shelved me for about 6 months instead of 2 years, like it should have. Now, why? Well, because professional wrestling gave me an opportunity to feel connected to a community of like-minded individuals with some of the most creative minds in or outside of the wrestling business. Met some of the best people in my life there. The accolades you receive for cosplaying a superhero or a legit tough guy while trying to be a low-level improv acting stuntman only come from wrestling fans, and it's been passed down for centuries. Roman gladiators feasted on the cheers of the crowd, and you have to think that every professional athlete and every actor ever has done it for the same reasons. The beautiful thing about professional wrestling is that it's still a constantly evolving form of entertainment, and much like the evolution of other sports and entertainment, hopefully it changes for the better, and hopefully it creates a culture between the fan and the performer that truly, truly dictates safety of the performer. Because if not, you're going to see something tragic happen. My name's Chris Tidwell. That's your kick in the head.